Everybody, thank you so much for showing up for this. As I was saying, like we've got a lot of great stuff to go through. But first and foremost, I would like to introduce you to Maureen Binter. You saw her resume earlier and how incredibly qualified she is. She's going to be coming on with us to intern for, was it 7 weeks, Maureen?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So we are going to start doing that pretty much at the beginning of March. So in about 2 weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks. And given the amount of experience that she has on multiple different levels, she's going to be able to not only help us, but help me as well in regard to being a better leader, a better director one way or another. So as always, constructive criticism is the highest compliment. But also, Maureen, thank you so much for taking the time and the effort and the consideration to be a part of our group. Um, the I think because of her extensive capacity for being able to be a business leader, she is going to help out in she's basically going to be a catch-all for the different aspects that we need to get done. Um, Probably also going to be heading up or it was following up with the heads of committees to make sure that everybody's on task. Um, because like basically there's going to be a huge shift from where it is that I what it is that I had been working on to where it is that we're going to be going. So yeah, very excited, Maureen. Thank you so much again for taking the time and the effort. And yeah, so do you have anything to say before I dive into what it is that we're doing?
Oh no, I just want to say, I'm looking forward to the opportunity and I'm very excited because I really believe in bullets and band-aids. Having served in the Gulf War and everything, once upon a
Yeah.
time, I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's also she's a Marine as well, so that's fun. Maureen the Marine. Great. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive in. So
You labeled her for life.
I'm sorry.
You labeled Maureen for life.
There's worse things to be labeled.
That's what,
Welcome
and it's always
aboard,
been
Maureen.
Maureen. It's
Right.
always been Maureen the Marine. Once I joined the Marine Corps, people were like, seriously?
Well, welcome aboard. Pleasure.
Thank you.
So to start, while we were at the Richland County Library, I gave tours to, like, one was to a woman that her chief her chief job was to, she was the head fundraiser for a female senator from South Carolina. She told me, I retired 2 years ago and I've been looking for something, and I think I found it. So we're going to be incorporating her. There's also Larry and Lisa Hessler that we met through Chuck, who has like both of them have been well. Chuck, why don't you tell them a little bit about Lisa and Larry and their past experience?
Oh, well, I met them about 12, 13 years ago when I had the restaurant downtown. They came in, they were looking for a space to do some of their uh, baking of goods, things like that. So we were looking to accommodate each other. That led to another business that Lisa was starting in the area of health and diet. So helped her get that off the ground and going. And the next thing you know, we're just lifelong friends.
Hmm.
Lisa is from Illinois. Her comes from a very industrious family. Her father started a company that basically is the largest, I guess, manufacturer of cabinets and storage in the world. They mainly target schools and industrial, commercial type buildings where they install doors, cabinets, storage space.
Hmm.
And she moved here to Columbia, South Carolina, has two children and three or four grandchildren. Wonderful, wonderful heart. Larry is an ex-Marine and Army officer, so he relates to Robert and Bullets and Band-Aids. He's quiet, but he moves very stealthily and is a supporter of both his wife as well as Robert. And they are doing their best to network Robert into and to their family.
It's, it,
So that's it. That's a very short synopsis. I could actually go on for a long time, but given the time constraints, they
yeah,
love Robert. They love Bullets and Band-Aid.
well, I'm so grateful for the introduction. It's been extraordinary. The people that we've already met up with through them have been wonderful.
Mm.
There's a lot. I don't want to speak for anything until it's set in stone. Suffice it to say, we have
Good.
yeah, we've got a lot of different potential that's happened because of them. That's huge. And it took them a long time for them to come on board. I had to give them a tour as well before they like could fully understand what it is that we were doing. At one point, one of the first times I met them, Lisa was kind of bombarding me with questions. What is it that you guys do? Well, we do that. No, no, no. What is it that you guys do? Well, so we provide veteran. No, no, no. What is it that you do? You know, to make it as short as possible. And then after I gave them a tour, I turned to Lisa and I was like, "So what do we do?" And she was like, "I get it." You know, so she now understands the extremity of our cause and loves it. And of course, like Larry obviously has his own buy-ins for different reasons, but they're going to prove invaluable, not simply for the introductions that they make, but for the resources that they have, including their home and their boathouse, which they can like put on loan for auctioning or something like that, and their home for meetings if we want to have smaller, fundraisers there. So
I
that's
think
going.
that bodes true for all the boats on that dock.
Yeah, yeah, maybe, maybe. Um,
Dock party.
yeah, and then finally, I gave tours to the heads of what the deputy director of the South Carolina Humanities and the director and a bunch of other people from the Central Carolina Community Foundation. Um, and I also did what was it a conference in Clemson for the South Carolina Arts Leaders Institute, where I met and had a bunch of conversations with several different people. Um, and it seems to be a recurring theme that basically what it is that we are doing is going to be an uphill battle because we are not focused just and only in South Carolina. Because we are veteran focused, there's just not many grants out there for veteran focused through the Arts Commission. There's not many veteran-centric grants, and of course, all of the grants have more or less been frozen anyway. So right now, we are going to be shifting from relying upon grants to finding means of monetizing what it is that we have. Now, I'm going to use terms like monetizing content or stuff like that, but all of these things are inherently going to make it so that we are sustainable in the future. Um, at the moment, I think that it's like 97 or 98% of our funding has gone directly to the program. So keeping in mind that is insane and it's wonderful, especially given that we're a startup and also not sustainable. But in the meantime, we look really good. So that's key. Um, So the we got a grant through the South Carolina Humanities to do talkback discussions, which is one of the reasons why I'm going to be speaking really quickly through this. Uh, um, Also, you can make reference to it once I upload it onto YouTube, and everybody already has the agenda. But long story short, we have not been doing the best job. We are fulfilling what it is that we said we are going to do, but it is by the skin of our teeth. A lot of it hasn't been filmed, or has been where people have attempted to film it and it's just gone wrong one way or another. So basically, I'm going to approach them and say, "Listen, this is what we did. I'm not going to approach you for another grant again until uh, um, practically until we're sustainable." We are going to continue doing these discussion panels. And we're going to continue giving you shout outs. But for now, just to make sure that we're on the same page, we prefer to under promise and over deliver. And at this moment, we have just promised and delivered, even like maybe even under delivered, if I'm being entirely honest. So yeah. that is a thing. It's one of those like if you knock it out of the park, great, they'll give you more, but we didn't. So something to keep in mind in the future. Um, so the because we're not getting butts and seats, you know, like fundamentally we're not getting butts and seats at the moment, and they're not being recorded, even though we have attempted to record over and over again. We've only gotten one solid recording so far. Hopefully, we're going to get another today and then another next Sunday. And altogether, that will be three and a half, no, like three and two halves of decent recordings out of the 10 that we have done. Um, so there's that. There are like the grants before the grants dried up, the grants for the Arts Commission had nothing to do with what it is that we're doing whatsoever. So there's that as well. Um,
Robert, just to make sure I'm understanding, when you say recording and delivering the recordings, you mean videotaping and audio recording of the Bullet Points series?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes, yeah, cheers. And of course, again, like all, you know, pretty much all the grants are frozen anyway. Chuck, I don't know if you were on the call for this or not, but because all the grants have been frozen, the $10,000 that we were going to get specifically for voiceovers, we are going to have to shift gears. Ironically, this is going to make our job a lot easier because you can have very realistic voiceovers done through artificial intelligence, and it can basically like turn what would be, you know, a month and a half, 2 months worth of effort into a day and a half, if that. So that's good news. Of course, like all we do is focus on the writer writing the story as a human being and the artist creating something as a human being based off of the human being that was interviewed. So in regard to voiceovers, well, that's what we're going to adapt. That's how we're going to adapt. Um, Another connection that we made was through Mary Skinner Jones, who's a friend of Chuck's and mine, and she introduced me to a woman named Susan McPherson, who is the Vice President of Public Policy and Military Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce. Um, she initially started off the conversation disagreeing with what it is that we do, and then 5, 10 minutes later, she was entirely sold. She's already given our stuff to a bunch of different people, invited me to a group with two-star generals and politicians and stuff like that. So I'll be going there and smiley glad handing as much as I have to. But that's huge in regard to us getting butts and seats for not just the wine social thing that we're going to have coming up on March 29th, which we're going to get to, but also the fundraiser, which we're going to have at some point in June. I'm going to be coordinating a lot of these people that we have mentioned before, as well as the ones that we're talking about now, to help coordinate the outreach of these different people. Another person is a woman named Jennifer Saunders, who is a librarian at the University of South Carolina, who's also a mom of a fraternity. I think it's like Kappa Sigma, whatever. It's one of those. And she wants a lot of, excuse me, they are eager to volunteer for us. And also Justin. Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me. I think I skipped. Yeah, I totally skipped something. Jennifer also introduced me to Greg Wilsbacher, who's the head of Moving Image Research Collections. And it turns out that the University of South Carolina has either the largest or the second largest film depository for Marine Corps footage. And so that has brought us access to a lot of different things, uh, um, including potentially like plugging in some of these videos to some of the cohort pages. The cohort pages now are what we refer to in regard to having the written story as well as the voiceover and you know the artist statements and all the rest of it. Um, so we might be able to just like plug in some of these images just to allow for more immersive um, experience one way or another. Um, right. So another in regard to volunteers and coordination, Justin Williams, the president of the board who couldn't make it today, has been doing spot on job of reaching out to the people at the University of South Carolina. They want to supply us with between 40 to 60 volunteers. It might sound like a lot, and it is a lot, and that's going to be great. However, we also have a volunteer coordinator named Holly Rauch. She has worked with us for volumes 3 and 4. She was in the discussion panel, the bullet points series a couple of weeks ago, and she is eager to work with us in that regard. So a lot of you are going to need direct access to her or through Maureen, who might be able to facilitate that exchange one way or another. But whole bunch of volunteers we have access to, and a volunteer coordinator. And Maureen is going to help out a great deal. And of course, like if I need to jump in, I will as well. But the resources that we have are significant. Okay, so what we're doing. One of the things that I realized recently, given the amount of interviews that we have, is that we are not working on volume 5. We are working on volumes 5 and 6. That is going to basically have roughly the amount of effort that I thought we were going to have to put in order to have this thing created. Our goal is to have roughly 40 stories, a book that's not too big, not too cumbersome, and doesn't water down each of the individual stories. The good news is we have at the moment 56 interviews, I think, with another 20 in a holding pattern whenever we need them. So yeah, in regard to that, we're good. I think we have 27 written stories so far, I believe, which means Robert Matheson and I have some conversations ahead of us regarding, finding out which artists should be going where. But that's a fun part of what it is that we're doing. And so, I don't know, within the next like 6 months, 7 months, we should start getting in some of the artwork that is, for this next iteration. By the end of the year, we want the entire book printed and in hand. Like by December 31st, I want to be able to hold volume 5 in my hand. That is the goal. And we are well on our way. Next thing is the website revamping and maintenance. There has been a lot, like I have fallen, all right, we need to address the website in a few different ways, and I've been doing a different style of breakdown, and now there's a means, like I've got guidelines that can show me how to make it where there's less verbiage, but a lot more engagement and information in each of these pages. It's going to take a lot. Some of it's going to be tedious, but again, like we have volunteers that are going to be helping out with that. There is on the home page of our Google Drive, there is a folder that's entitled website. And within that website are all of the things that we're going to need, like a basic breakdown. I've populated most of it with the stuff that we need. There is verbiage that I'm going to have to add to it. And in regard to us like fully integrating some of the stuff that we need to do, like in the cohort page, where we're going to have sponsorships for each of these pages, or when we're doing like memberships and stuff like that, it's going to get relatively detailed. But again, we have a great deal of volunteers and also several people who are capable of doing these things, here and now. Um, I've got nothing but faith that it's going to work. Yeah, like it's again, like there might be, you know what? In fact, there's some ways that this might not even be as tedious as we need it to be. Like for example, sponsorships. We wouldn't need a place for to request for sponsorships per page. We could just have sponsors, which piece, what do you want to upload into that space? So it would just be a matter of quick transference. We also want to have a means of the veteran writer or artist be contacted through their cohort page. Maybe have like a $3 paywall so that people can scan the QR code and pay $3 to say something to the veteran, the writer, or the artist. Um, That way, like A, we can make some funds from it. B, through that paywall, we won't have to worry about trolls or bots, and it will pay for like however much the processing fee would be. So that'll be taken care of, and it'll also allow for a full circle connection between the attendees and our participants, which is fundamental and explorative and immersive, and it's going to be wonderful. Um,
Robert, instead of saying paywall, can we say donate wall or donation wall?
we could, sure, but it's the same.
Well,
We're not gonna tell the attendees that it's a paywall. We're just gonna give them the option to do this thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, like the so long as the end result is the same, we can call it whatever, you know.
We can call it sponsoring a message.
ah, I like that better.
Sure, absolutely. Um, yeah, but that verbiage we'll have to look into, but we can absolutely do that as well. Um, we are working on memberships right now. Uh, uh, and and I mean, like, we are going to start incorporating those memberships. Again, I'm putting down some hats, and the ones that I'm putting up now are going to be focused on monetization of our content, whether that be online or through fundraisers and stuff like that. So, yeah, we are going to want most of the stuff that we're talking about on the website, if not all of it, done by the end of March, by March 29th, if possible. Um, because on March 29th, we're having again, like, I guess I'll get to that, but it's a wine social where we'll be announcing some stuff. So the memberships, like Justin, again, knocking it out of the park, has different tiers of membership. We are always down to brainstorm more. Eric, I think you're the one that initially brought up the idea of having postcards done. It's a brilliant idea, and there's a lot of different ways that we might be able to incorporate that as well. It would be relatively cheap to print out, so yeah, that is definitely something that we are going to have to look into soon. But yeah, anything that the memberships require, um, there's going to have to be a setup of how to adapt and like who's going to be sending off the postcards, etc. We'll get to that in a little bit. Um, yeah, that's a conversation for a little bit later. Um, so what we'll be doing in February. Okay, so the last two Sundays, like I had said, we're gonna have a bullet points discussion series at Soul House, the Soul House Gallery, that's owned by Preach Jacobs. It's literally 3 blocks away from the center of downtown Columbia. It's a nice venue, nice gallery, and yeah, we've got some really good news coming up on that. Um, Also, apparently the fundraiser that they're doing for us monthly at the Art Bar was last Friday, and the Art Bar veteran group is meeting up this Friday, which is why I'd switched up the date on the agenda. We don't have to worry about that. If you're not a veteran and you don't want to show up to the Art Bar Veterans Night at Art Bar, no stress. In March, massive amounts of coordinating of volunteers. We are going to have Excel sheets of all of the people that are interested in how it is that they are interested and how it is that they can do whatever it is that they need to do. Because the more of those we have, the easier it's going to be for us to point Holly in the right direction and for us to know what our resources are. So that is going to be a massive thing. I think Holly, Maureen, and myself will be, and Justin will be the ones that are trying to coordinate that Excel sheet and coordinating the individual volunteers as much as possible. But also the people who are in charge of the committees are going to be the ones that necessarily have to let us know that they need them. We are planning on doing more bullet point series discussion panels. We haven't locked anyone in yet, but that honestly, like, if we get to it in March, great. If we don't, great. It's not like we're going to look any worse to the South Carolina humanities, but we do want to have those done as much as possible, if for no other reason, so that we can populate the artists' pages that are going to be focused on the individual artists, which is something that Maureen and myself have talked to in further detail, and also something that the volunteers can get done in due time. Um, so we had talked about Saturday, the 29th of March. We are going to have a wine social where we're also going to be announcing that we are going to be taking up space at the Soul House Gallery. And what I mean to say by taking up space is that we're going to have space on the upstairs where we have four, maybe five pieces displayed. But what's as important is that like we're also going to have an office based out of there. So if we want to have meetings, if we want to have events, if we want to have any of these things, they are there. And like it's there. We're good to go. It's a good space. Preach knows how to push all kinds of stuff. And so yeah, that's yeah, that's a big deal.
So we now have brick and mortar.
Yeah, yeah, one way or another.
Is there going to be merch outside of, would we be able to sell merch outside of the paintings?
Yes, we can. The merch page is one of the things that we're gonna have to tweak a little bit on our website, but also we do have some merch that we can sell. Um,
Books.
you know, yeah. Well, we have some books. We're gonna have to print out more volume three, I think. We got plenty of volume four books. We don't have any volume one or two books. Just because that was so long ago, they're just gone with the few exceptions of like the ones that I have pretty much. Um, so yeah, that's more expenditure. It's going to take, roughly $10,000 to print out 500 books for volume five as well. So, yeah,
We could take orders,
yeah,
pre-orders.
definitely take pre-orders. That's valid. We can absolutely take pre-orders for volume five,
Okay.
which is something that we need to think about further down the line, but absolutely that needs to come back up. Um, So, board responsibilities. It has been over a year since we've had to have forms filled out and looked over. And let's be honest, like some of us didn't fill out some of those forms, some of us didn't do those things. And so we are cracking down. I'm going to create like a larger, like one singular form that has, give me one second. I'll just list off a few of them. Um, Conflict of interest policy, confidentiality agreement, code of ethics and conduct, nonprofit bylaws, etc. So I'm just going to make it easy and give you one form, but it's going to be a long form. I would strongly recommend reading through all of it so that we are all on the same page. I know right now, this is a working board, but we are at a point in time where if we work together, more hands make for light work. We can get this done and we can be sustainable, but we need to put forth this effort and get it done. Um, so that it is now like if I have to start wearing business suits, apparently I need to start wearing business suits. You guys can fill out some of these forms. Um, and not like in a cheeky way, like hoo, like no, 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 fill out the forms. Um,
Robert, if you need some ties, I've got a lot of extra ties.
yeah, all right. Um, that is
I'll fill out the forms too.
I can't cheers.
I don't think I've seen Robert in a shirt that didn't have bullets and band-aids ever.
Yeah.
So that asteroid that is supposed to hit the Earth might be coming sooner than later.
Yeah, it's weird, and I really don't want to, but apparently with some of the people, like I was called out twice within 24 hours where people are like, "You need to start dressing better." Yeah, it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to do that. But I will do that because we are so close to this being sustainable that if my own ego got in the way or my own laziness, then I would be the reason why this failed, and that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Um, Having said that, though, yes, we are going to need bios and headshots. If you haven't sent them in, and even if you had, probably going to need to just upload them again onto one folder on Google Drive, um, as well as having these documents signed, having read over them, because yeah, there's important information on it. Expectations that we have, like showing up to the events and supporting one another and liking and sharing what it is that we do. Um, this is also going to come as we have more interaction I'm going to have more time so that I can reach out and follow up with these different groups. And so, yeah. Um, what we need, recurring meetings. Um, so we are going to have like the all things electronic meetings every 2 weeks on Monday at 5 p.m. Does that work for Giordano, Eric, and Andrew?
Works for now.
Yeah,
Works for me too.
excellent. Andrew,
Yep, that's good.
wonderful. So is it cool if we start that off tomorrow?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I unfortunately have a lot of irons in the fire tomorrow, but any other day should be fine. I mainly have a busy month because I'm finishing up my last 2 months of college. I have Civil Air Patrol on Mondays and just a lot of irons in the fire on Mondays.
Fair enough. Well, are you still comfortable being the head of that committee, or do we need to outsource that to someone else?
If we could just let somebody handle it for 2 months for me, I mean, that'd be great.
Those are important 2 months. Those are like the important 2 months. But
Yeah, or somebody else can head it up while I'm gone, and if they can't handle it, then I can take back over.
okay, I've got a couple of ideas. I'll try to adapt to that. Hmm. So I might be able to get Mike to start doing some of these things. Maybe. I say that because he knows all of the stuff about all of the things that we're trying to do, really, and knows that website really well and how to manipulate things. And yeah, so I'm going to do everything in my power to convince him to show up and do those things um, because they need to happen. And, was it the devil drives when need? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll see what I can do about finding somebody to head up that committee. In the meantime, um, I will just go ahead and say, uh, if all three of you could check out the website folder that's on the main folder of our Bullets and Band-Aids drive, so that you can familiarize yourself with what it is that we're doing. I think you'll realize there's not much overlap. It's going to be a lot more efficient. It's going to bring about so many better things than what it is that we have, including uh, I don't know. I mean, like Eric, you've already done a great job with the calendars. Andrew, you've already knocked it out with the sponsorship page. There are going to be still going to be tweaks. Like we're going to need to have sponsorship labels that are the same size and stuff like that. But like, all right, we'll figure that out. Um, Andrew, can you at least be like is there we'll talk. We'll talk.
I can be on standby for any help that I may need to pitch in outside of Mondays. It's just Mondays. Just
Oh,
I
like
keep
just Mondays.
yeah. I'm like slam packed every single Monday for the next 2 foreseeable months.
Oh, okay, so if it wasn't Mondays, you could still head the committee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since I have you guys online at the moment, Eric and Giordano, are you free any other time on Tuesday through Friday?
I I can do Wednesdays the same time. Tuesdays and Thursdays I teach until 11, and then I'm back in the class at 2 o'clock. So it's a little bit harder day for me.
Okay.
Thursdays are rough for me in the late afternoon. I can do Wednesday.
Sounds like Wednesday at 5 is going to work.
Wednesday works for me.
Okay, Wednesday, 5 p.m. is the next time we are going to have this committee meeting. Andrew, does this mean you're still going to be able to head the committee?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just the only thing I had issues with were Mondays.
Groovy. So can you set up that Zoom, make sure everybody gets that information, etc.?
Sure. Yeah. I'll get it done by the end of the day.
Nice. And I think you and I'll just go ahead and go over that folder that we're talking about later on. Probably not today. We might be able to do it on Tuesday or early Wednesday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I just want to make sure that you're comfortable while you're talking to everybody else about how to get this stuff done. Um, so
Robert, when you talked about the forms we're going to have filling out, uh, there was a questionnaire, and I was poking at all the bios and other information, and I think it was actually Chuck had filled out a questionnaire that you had put together that was like, what's your affiliation? Like, what's your interest in veterans? Why are you doing this with bullets and band-aids, whatever. And I had kind of loosely used that to put together my bio.
Okay. Which your bio was spot on, by the way. So right on.
So yeah, so I think that we probably already have the right questionnaire that we just need to get expanded out for the bios, because I think that our bios should include all that stuff that I saw Chuck had answered on a form, on a
Yeah.
paper form.
All right. So we can do that as well as getting signatures for the bylaws and all of the conflicts of interest, et cetera. So we can have that be one long form so that you can read all of that data and be comfortable with it. And then the other information that you would provide that would help us not only work well with one another, but also create a bio, like a one paragraph bio for the website.
My
Uh,
bio might have been was my bio too long?
Off the top of my head, I'll say no. I don't know.
It
You
was
know,
a we haven't put it on the website yet.
well,
So I was just
that's yeah. I mean, like the like as far as I'm concerned, like we're that website is going to be under construction until March 29th. Um, it doesn't mean that it has to be shut down, but there's a lot that we have to change. Okay, so there's that. Great news. Maureen is eager to do the social media stuff. As you guys know, social media is not my strongest point, or a point that I can even acknowledge. So it's awesome that she's going to be stepping up and doing that. So that's great news.
are
Uh,
we
Oh, okay. I have
sorry,
a
do you mind if
question
I ask?
for Maureen. Is TikTok something Bullets and Band-Aids should consider?
Oh, sorry, I had to find my unmute. Um, it's gonna depend what we put on it
Okay,
or what we wanna maybe for like events, socials, when there's actual shows, that might be a
okay.
good place. But that's something I can definitely look into more too. What would gain like followers, what would get a lot of views, that kind of thing.
nice, nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's the thing also, like we have volunteers to muck around with the content that we have up until a point. So if you do need like little, blurbs one way or another, then they might be able to do that. So that would be great. They're definitely, I need to put together a triage of the things that, well, no, that's just me thinking out loud. I won't worry about that.
I have
Um,
another question for about our social media stuff. And this comes to mind because I went to see a show this weekend, and the comedian at the end of the show said, "Hey, give me your email address for our mailing list, because social media won't work. It won't actually get to you unless we pay." Is Bullets and Band-Aids intending to do all of its social media in an organic fashion, or are we going to pay to play in terms of getting exposure for like sponsored to get our things higher up on people's lists and things like that?
I don't think that's something we would do right away, but that's something Robert and I can talk about. I don't really, me personally, I don't believe in people buying their followers per se, because I feel like it's kind of cheating. But
Unless they're
like you
empty,
said,
they're hollow. We
huh?
wouldn't know they're hollow. We wouldn't know what resources we have through them. We wouldn't know our actual base, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to be
But I just was wondering, because like the organic reach that I have for my artistry pages and stuff is really small. And I know that could be because of the content isn't engaging enough, or it could be because the platforms are not really designed to do things other than advertise at this point. So speaking mainly with exposure to Facebook, there's less and less relevant content in my feed.
Hey, Doc, are you on this? Can you hear me? Doc? Okay. Fair enough. All right. So,
Something to chew on.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
can hear you.
yeah. So what are your thoughts on this?
Reference buying stuff.
Like buying, what did you call them, Eric?
Well, like sponsoring, you make a post and then you can sponsor the post. You pay basically to surface that post in people's feeds.
All right. So like pay for advertising.
Yeah, paid for advertising through social media versus like strictly organic, which at this point, like the organic reach is not organic.
Well, I mean, I think right now,
Too soon, too soon.
yeah, once we have more of a presence online, I think we'll be able to build more. Once our website is up, we'll be able to do more. Like once all of these things are up and running and up to date, I think a lot of this is going to snowball. Yeah. So that's really
We've paid for advertising on social in the past for certain things, and we didn't see really any sort of significant return on our investment. And that could be because our followership at the time wasn't fantastic, but it's hard to tell with that kind of stuff because we also weren't paying a significant amount. It was kind of like a trial run, and we had like a little bit of extra funds that we kind of threw towards it to see if it did anything. And we weren't really happy with the results. The caveat to that is because we only did it for a short amount of time, that could have been the reason also that we didn't see any sort of significant return. But if we don't have the funds to do it long term, you can't really get any sort of data to compile reference like, is this worth our time or not? You'd have to really set it up and do it for like 3 to 6 months to see whatnot. And then it's how much are you willing to pay and that kind of stuff too. So it's a whole thing that we could do the research and run it, but the funding and then understanding that any money that we throw towards that, we're basically burning.
Yeah.
For
So
data.
this is a 2026 thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, like it's a thing where it's like if we had a couple grand that would stretch for 3 to 6 months that we could do that with to see what kind of data it came back with, it might be worth it. But if it's a thing where we're kind of like in between and we don't really have funds to throw at it to be dedicated to do it for several months, that's not worth it in the long run.
Is this the sort of thing where it's like sooner the better, or is it like just once we get the opportunity?
Not necessarily sooner the better. Like
Would it be easier
because we don't
to gather the data with fewer people, I guess is my question.
so the thing with that is like if we don't have anything going on that we're advertising, like if we're just like, hey, we're an organization and that's what we're paying for, it's not that great. If we have a event that we've done in the past and we've had decent numbers at it, so like one of the art shows or something like that we've done several years in a row, and we have, hey, this last year we got this many people or whatnot, so we have like a baseline data to start with. And then we run a whole campaign reference paying for advertising for that specific event. Then we could see if the event increased those numbers at that or that campaign increased those numbers at that event, then that'd be something where we'd have like empirical data to go off of. But if it's something that we don't have any previous stuff to compare it to,
yeah,
we're just kind of shooting from the hip.
Okay. Excellent.
Robert,
So it sounds like we need to have recurring events as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
like so,
that's what I was saying too. Like I plan to be at the wine social, so
Hmm.
I'll be taking, photos and getting footage to put on Instagram. So I think it's important to, when there's events going on, to have, you know, getting content, and then that can be put on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. Because then that way, like he said, you're showing that there's activities, there's things happening, um, movement, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I also forgot to mention that Giordano has started going over the letters for these different museums that we are going to be sending off. And oh shoot, I didn't talk about Kyle Coleman. So yeah, so he is going to send off roughly 5 a week, if not more, depending on the time that he has. Eventually, hopefully, we'll have something lock in. I also forgot to mention that my friend Hazel, who lives out in London, is going to be. Well, she actually did a very deep dive line edit of our museum package and tweaked a whole bunch of stuff. And so uh, now it's pretty much watertight. So that's great news. So we are going to have more outreach coming up. And another person that I forgot to mention that I gave a tour to is the fine arts director for Artfields, which, if you guys don't know what Artfields is, it's basically like once a year they bring together 200 of the best artists in the Southeast to showcase at in this one town in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina. And so, he's interested in showing our work at Artfields in 2026. And if not there, then there's 2 other locations that he's interested in vouching for us too. And also, we can invoke his name with any of those artists that we reach out to for volumes 5 and 6. So that's huge. Um, yeah.
One second. Art Fields has also a series of really nice venues that are in Lake City year round.
Okay.
They've been expanding, so they have uh, uh, at least 3 very nice locations, if not more now, that are not just during the week of Art Fields. Obviously, that's their busiest week.
So, keeping in mind that we are looking to monetize everything, we are going to want to make sure that it is one of those things where they're, paying us to show our work one way or another. Like the whole like prestige and exposure thing, like we've already got it. Now we need money. So that's going to be a key focus. Um, but yeah, that's good to know. Absolutely. So in regard to this wine social that we're having on March 29th, this is going to be a push to get people to get butts in seats. Um, yeah, I'm kind of up in the air. Chuck, you were saying that we shouldn't. Is Chuck still here? Um, yeah, Chuck, you were saying that we should not sell tickets. You think it would be more of an invitation, you know, sort of thing, or is it open to the public
Or for what?
for the wine social on March 29th, where we're telling everyone to um, that we're going to use Soul House.
Um, I would say right now, um, I wouldn't sell tickets. If we could sell product, um, take orders for books, t-shirts, things like that, because I don't know how many, it depends on if we get all those volunteers on board. If we get a lot of volunteers on board that can really push getting it out to the public, then maybe we could sell tickets. But it seems like it's a very short amount of time to do all that right now.
Okay. So we'll definitely be selling tickets for the one in June, just
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I'm just worried about the time and organization. We don't have a flow yet, an
Yeah.
organizational flow.
Does anybody else disagree?
We can get some merch in there to sell.
Yeah.
Uh, then you know that does the merch kind of advertises us and gets us steered up stewed up for the next step. So
And of course, we have like, a QR code that you can scan to donate if you're interested, you know.
Yes,
But it'll
yes.
be one of those things where the quote unquote ask is going to be, hey, by the way, there's a QR code. If you feel like donating, you could definitely use your help this way and this way. Having said that, that's not why we're here. We are here to celebrate, what it is that we've done so far, you that are supporting us, and where it is that we're going to be going for volumes 5 and 6.
I
What's the
think it's
capacity?
important to work the crowd.
Yeah.
Work the crowd. Ask for donations or promote, promote, promote.
We're going to need like as many butts and seats as possible, like physical butts and seats as possible.
And
What's the
even volunteers.
capacity? What's the capacity of people for that location? Like how many people can be in there?
That's funny. Like capacity to me is like it's kind of a guideline rather than a rule. I should find out.
Huh. I think Preach said about 150, didn't he?
Yeah, something like that maybe. I don't know. It doesn't look like 150 size, but like yeah, we'll figure it out one way or another. If
Is
It's
there going to
where
be?
Marie, do you remember If Art Gallery?
I'm
Marie,
not. I don't. Yeah, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh,
yeah.
hi.
Hi. I guess I know it's we're gonna promote it to try and get people there. Are we gonna take RSVP so we kind of have a number, or are we just gonna wing it this time?
I think RSVPs are good, but it's, I think so long as I don't know. I don't want to scare people off, but I think if somebody is going to RSVP, they're more likely to show up.
Yeah.
Um, Chuck, what do you think about RSVPing?
I think it's good because it's real simple to put down.
Oh yeah, spot on, Maureen. Well done. Absolutely. And that's what we'll do. We'll invite people and ask them to RSVP. Um,
And then when we're promoting it too, like on social media and everything, you can actually put the link like in the bio. And then when we promote it, you can say link in bullets and band-aids, RSVP and link in bullets and band-aids bio. And then that way you always want to incorporate too the fact that okay, 300 people, let's say 300 people RSVP. Well, obviously 10% of those people are no shows. You always have to take that into account also.
yeah, I thought it was like
Okay.
30% of the people that say they're going to show up do or something along those lines. I could
Yeah.
be wrong about that. But again, like I'm a big fan of under promising and over delivering. So off we go. That also means though that when the time comes to push for this wine social, we're gonna need you to reach out to your people to and I'm talking to everyone here. We're gonna need everyone to reach out to their people if they're in the area and say it would be great to have you show up here.
Yeah.
It's the same with liking and sharing our social media stuff.
Mhm.
We need you guys to, I don't know, every few days get on our social media and see what it is that we're doing and push it. That is actually like part of the information that I need you guys to sign is that you need to take an active role in making sure that we are benefiting as often as possible. It needs to be um, on the back of your mind, at least up until a point. I think it's important to
Let's get all the volunteers there too. Not only does it show on social media a lot of bodies, but they also get a chance to learn more about us. They get to text since they're young college kids, basically. They'll be texting, they'll probably post us on TikTok, even if we're not. And so it will generate some energy.
yeah. If we
Agreed.
Yeah, that if we need to lock in those kids. That's true. But
Yes.
yeah, we need to lock in those kids. Whether it be for an immediate thing or like maybe we can discuss something long term one way or another, like pay them a little bit here and there to do things. I don't care. We need the kids. We need the kids.
Well, can't we have the
Well, we,
volunteers? Can't we have the students? Like, if we're selling merch and things, they could like get volunteer hours for doing that.
Oh, totally. 100%. Selling merch is one of them. I mean, like depending on, we want to make sure that everything that we need covered is addressed first and foremost, if we can. If out of all of these volunteers, we don't have somebody that can cover it, um, then that's good to know as well. And so if you have some volunteers that are just kind of listless and nebulous or whatever, we'll just figure out what it is that they're good with or give them a task that might be menial but is important as well. You know what I mean? Like maybe reaching out, doing cold calls to see if we can have things for a silent auction or something like that. That's the thing. Could we have a silent auction for the 29th?
We have
That
some
might be too
auction.
soon.
Right? Too soon?
I was going to ask again, going back to the volunteers, are the volunteers just students and all just like all different disciplines? They're studying different things, or
A lot of
I
them.
know they're different disciplines.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess one thing also as far as volunteers, you could see if any of them are photographers, or going through, doing photography. Have them come and take, photos and stuff of events. Um, I just totally lost my train of thought from it. But photographers, yeah, photographers. If you get to a point of having a DJ, are there any that are in music, a DJ?
I
So
mean,
those are just other options for, yeah, for volunteers also, especially students, because then that gets them out there and gets them exposure too, to see their work.
absolutely. That is a
I
thing.
think they get credit for this, right?
Oh yeah.
Giordano?
You want to
It
talk to
depends on what associations, what fraternities they are. If they're in a service fraternity, yeah, or a sorority, they do get credit.
Nice.
So is there a way to find out if any of them are like photographers in music, anything like
absolutely.
that?
Oh yeah, that's part of the Excel sheet that we're going to be putting
Okay.
together. So it's
Okay.
going to be the names of the students, their contact information, and what it is that they're going to school for probably, and then like anything that they might be interested in doing on the side.
Could
What
we ask them about their social media presence?
There you go. That's a good one.
we could, sure. I think we would want to make sure that everybody posted if they could. By asking them about their social media, do you mean by like having them help do our social media?
No, I mean like when like if we're running a survey on our volunteers to see what skills and things they bring to the table, one of our questions can be like, do you have a lot of TikTok followers? Do you have will would you be interested in posting about these events on your blank social media page? We're
What platforms are you on? That's another one.
yeah. So just like to facilitate the organic reach as opposed to our like strictly regimented through bullets, like having someone take pictures for us is awesome. Having someone take pictures and give them those pictures to us so that we can push them out is awesome. But as we mentioned, having someone post about the event that they went to, like when I was in college, going to an art show was cool. Hey, I went somewhere, they were serving wine. It was amazing. Like it was just a cool thing to do. And volunteering for that and being like, hey, I'm doing this thing for veterans. I could see them like having some personal interest and investment in it beyond just, oh, I went to volunteer for my service hours.
Yeah.
And so spinning that through their social media could be if we know about it, it could kind of spur the idea like, hey, you should post about this. Sorry.
No, spot on. I'm just writing this down. Oh, yeah.
My daughter will also be with me. She is an artist here in Charlotte, and she works for a nonprofit called Charlotte is Creative. So she'll be with me also. They have like 36,000 followers currently. So she'll be there, and she'll definitely also take footage and post it on Charlotte is Creative.
Nice. And I think we also want to yeah. She's a great artist. So Robert Matheson and I are going to have a discussion about that. But once again, we want to make sure that people get out of it more than just oxytocin and dopamine. So yeah, so that's a thing. Um, we're going to be planning on the fundraiser in June, potentially doing a silent auction. We're sure we're going to have sponsors for food and drink. Media push. Justin is great at doing media outreach. But then we'll also hopefully get the kids to do a social media push as well. And we might send out postcards. I'm not 100% sure on that. You can do it relatively cheaply, but I don't know if it would be better for us to just get better postcards printed and sell them for like $2 or $3 a piece, or also like have enough printed out to where we can send them to our members monthly. But that's a thing that we're gonna want to potentially do. So yeah, and then beyond that, we need more storage for the stuff that we have already. And so I'm going to boost the storage. I'm basically going to double the storage size that we have now, so that all of the artwork is easily accessible, so that we can like move stuff around without having to crawl over things. But also, it's going to help us like relabel all of the artwork within the packaging. It's yeah. So if we're going to need like 3 or 4 people to help with this, I will reach out to all of you when I know the date that we'll be able to do this. But yeah, we would definitely need butts and seats to help out, because this is not a one-man job. This is something that a lot of people are going to have to aid us in. So, I guess, I don't know, probably in like a week or so, I will set up a time, see if we can get some volunteers to come in. Basically, like, it's going to be predicated on how many people we can have show up and help. But it needs to happen sooner than later, one way or another. Once we have access to all of these things, the it'll be so much easier to find the artwork instead of having to sift through 85 pieces. So, yeah, that's a thing. Um, and another thing, and this might sound petty or like I'm trying to take advantage or something like that, but like right now I have an iPhone 8, and which means like there's a bunch of stuff that isn't like the processing power is garbage, the camera's garbage, and etc. I would have been able to film.
Say, go ahead and do it. Gee, my knees, an 8?
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
know where you're going.
yeah, would you guys be all right with that? So since we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people here, right? And I'll just go ahead and take my vote out of it. How many people are all right with me getting an iPhone for work? One, two,
I'm
three,
good. Go ahead.
I'm good.
five. Okay. Thank you. Again, either 97 or 98% of this would include this of the money that we get in goes directly to programming. So like that is A, that's bragging rights, and B, that's something we have to fix. But in the meantime, like we're doing this honestly, you know. So that is a thing.
Robert, as you get a phone, get a case for it.
Yes. Yes,
I saw the screen on the old one.
Yeah, go ahead and pay for the Apple Care.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm not like that's insurance for your investment.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
even kidding.
sure.
Working in IT, the warranty is part of the cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
We may be able to get some discounts. Depends on who you're with, your carrier and all that.
Okay.
I doubt if you'll get a trade-in.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously like I can't yeah. This is the sort of thing where I wouldn't be able to afford it, you know, so this is going to help out a lot. Um and I guess that's about it for now. I'm going to be following up with each of you individually with the stuff that we need moving forward. We are probably going to have another board meeting um probably at the beginning of March, just to make sure that, because a lot's going to be changing in the next 2 weeks. And I want to I want to make sure that everybody is informed as to the progress that we've made, so that you're comfortable with what it is that we're doing, where it is that we're going. And and yeah, like beyond that,
Can we set it up now?
yes, absolutely. We'll say March 2nd at 2 p.m. Does that work? That's a Sunday.
Don't think I'm going to be able to make that one.
Okay.
I was going to say the 9th might be better.
Oof. Okay, so boom, boom, 9th.
9th or 10th or
Okay, we can do the 9th.
16th. If that's good for
It's
you.
daylight savings time, so
Yeah, actually on the 9th, I'm gonna have to give a talk at the Columbia Genealogy chapter. I don't know. That's a thing. Whatever. So
16. It's still quite fast for a board meeting. So what about the 16?
yeah, I mean, it would be a shorter board meeting. Like this one's longer just because it's been so long. You know what I mean? So it would be about a 45-minute, 30 to 45-minute board meeting. Probably less than that. Probably be 30 minutes. But I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. So
2 o'clock.
yeah, well, I mean, it could be 2 o'clock. It could be 4 o'clock. So so the second just doesn't work. Is that correct?
Doesn't work for me.
Okay.
No.
No. All right. The ninth, I've got that genealogy thing at 3, so that's just like the worst time. Okay. So, and you said the 16th is, you guys think the 16th will work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do the 16th at 2 p.m. That will mean that we will have
Almost the Ides of March, huh?
yeah, we'll have like basically 2 weeks to tighten up whatever it is that we need to have done by the 29th. Because if we have a whole bunch of people showing up on the 29th and, our website is only half done and we haven't asked all the people, we haven't invited all the people that we need and like all this other stuff, then it will just look, we will have set the stage to look bad. So, yeah.
Robert, I'll be in. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Robert, I'll be in town on the 22nd.
Nice.
So I might be able. I texted you about this. I might be able to help you out with some stuff for last minute stuff and get flyers. We could maybe go canvas, put out some flyers or whatever for the following week.
That's what I was going to ask about. Is there a flyer that we'll be able to put on social media and our pages and stuff?
Is anyone confident in making that flyer, or is it this one of the things that I need to do?
Let's talk offline. Let's not have you make it. Maybe we could ask Greg to make it, something like that.
Okay. Okay. Um, yeah, we can definitely do that. Oh yeah, and that's right.
We can get people that
Chuck,
are
you
not
and I
on the
need to-
board.
Chuck, you and I need to talk about some stuff anyway. What'd you say?
We can get people who are not on the board to help us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been an option. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chuck, you and I will discuss how to make that flyer and who to speak with. And I know you and I also need to go into further detail about the website and the asks and all this other stuff. So just to make sure. But yeah, I think that's a you and me thing for the moment. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add at the moment?
I just want a quick question. Where is this wine social taking place? What venue?
It's going to be at Soul House, the same place where we're going to be having a space.
And that's in Columbia?
Right across from the Blue Marlin in the
Okay.
Vista.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Like it's nice. And
We've come up in the world.
yeah, it's actually really cool. And we're basically going to be taking up the space for free because it's tax deductible.
Okay.
That's the thing.
I have two things to talk with you about offline. One is a person who's a writer who would like to get involved,
Wonderful.
and something else that we can talk about.
Sure. That sounds great.
Okay.
Why don't I will give you a call immediately after this.
I need a bio break, so make it 5 minutes.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. So why don't you just call me when you're ready?
I will call you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And as always, guys, I know that it's difficult to plug along at something like this without seeing end results. If you check out the interviews under the Volume 5 folder, you will see 98% of them. So realizing that that's real, and then we also have a lot of the stories already uploaded, and the artwork is coming soon. So once like it's happening, and we will be able to show more of this as we develop. But I guess that just underscores my gratitude for everybody being patient, taking the time, the steps, the effort toward helping us reach these goals that so many people would have thought were impossible and have never been done before. Um, this is all real, and so thank you for slogging through all of this stuff in order to get to this pristine result that we're all going to be able to walk through by the end of the year. It's going to be extraordinary, and no one of us could do this alone. And I am so grateful to each of you in my marrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
you guys take care.
Welcome, Maureen.
Yes, welcome, Maureen.
Thank you. I look forward to working with everybody.
Likewise.